Should the 76ers give Joel Embiid an extension? We'll talk about that and more next on Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code all lowercase LockedOnNBA for a first deposit matchup to $100. And we want to thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hello, I'm Keith Pompey, and this is my right-hand man, John Mitchell. We are the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers. We got a lot to talk about with you today. A lot to talk about Joel Embiid, and then a little segment on Paul Reed. So our first two segments are going to be on Embiid. And Mitchell brought it to my attention, and we talked about it, and we knew that he was in line for an extension. But the brother is in line to get an extension of $195.3 million, a 3-year extension for that, right? The thing is, the first year, he can make 59.7 in his extension. The second year is 64.5, and the third year is 69.3. 35 years old, that's what he's going to be. So he'll get another contract. He may get another one after that. But the thing is, y'all, we're talking about a guy who has yet to finish an NBA season or play a full NBA season. We have a guy who has a real bad injury history, had so many surgeries on his knees, a dominant force, the man when it comes to that. But, Mitch, how do you feel about him getting an extension, and what kind of parameters you have?
You know what, Keith? I'm a little bit leery myself, man, to be quite honest. I know people say I'm crazy, but I mean, here's some. He's 30 now. I want him to get his money, but if there's one restriction and one parameter on him, he has to be a legitimate 275 pounds at the start of the season, not 280 pounds that they have him listed in the media guide, because we know what that listing means. They never change in the NBA. And in college, they boost your size up. You know, they want to boost him up, because when he was last year at Kansas, they had him listed at 250. I don't think he was 250 then. But, I mean, let's be honest, man. The guy you're looking at giving that kind of money to is probably, when healthy, the best player on the planet. I mean, with all due respect to guys, you know, argue, what we saw out of him looked like the best player in the country, on the land. But let's be honest about it. We just saw that player for 39 games this past season. Now, to put that in perspective, Joel Embiid, as great as that season was, only appeared in 7 more games than Buddy Hield. You know, and since his rookie year, Joel has missed 330.
You mean 7 more games as a Sixer than Buddy Hield?
As a Sixer. Yeah, as a Sixer. Thank you for that correction.
Mm-hmm.
Embiid has missed 336 games since his rookie season. That's the equivalent to 482 regular season games, you know. So they're going to pay him $51 million next season, and they've paid him $214 million over the course of his career. And those extensions, as you read off, will be 59.7, 64.5, $69.3 million. Now, that's at 35. If he's not in condition now, if he continues showing up not poorly conditioned, but not in optimal shape, not at a weight that's going to relieve that pressure and that stress on those aching knees, then you're going to have some issues. And as he gets older, he's 30. As you get older, you get injured more. Your body just breaks down. It's the way it is. And for a guy to have missed the equivalency of 4 full 82 game seasons in total games, with it's either you want to give him that money, you want him to be a Sixer, but you got to be healthy. If you're not on the floor, what is your value?
Yeah, I think they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, for lack of a better expression, because if you don't pay the guy, you might as well just trade him. And if you trade him, you're starting over again. The problem is, it's like, and the reason why I say trade him is because the big thing is you want to keep Joel incorporated. You want to keep him in tune with what's going on in the organization, like in regards to free agency and all this and that, because you want him to have a say. And the reason why you want him to have a say is because you don't want him to think that the grass is greener on the other side.
Right.
Right now, the one way of saying the grass is green on the other side is letting them do that is not giving them an extension that he feels like he deserves, and he going elsewhere where somebody else is going to give it to him, right? So that's the problem, man. And the thing is he's looking at it like, without me, you guys are a lottery team.
And he's right.
Are the Washington Wizards, the Detroit Pistons, the Spurs, right? I mean, seriously, that's what they are right now without him. So with him, he's this guy, and he can do everything well and great. And let's face it, last summer they had opportunities to make moves. They didn't. They had all these times to upgrade the roster, and they can't, and they couldn't. And now in the summer, they'll have an opportunity to do it. And if they don't do it to his liking, or he can ask out. And so my thing is, believe it or not, I think they got to pay him. And I know a lot of people are saying, like, Pompey, that's a crazy take.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's one of those things where you look at it and you say, what are your other options?
Yeah.
He's by far the best player. By far. And then the thing, so if you don't want to pay him, I just feel like you got to let him go.
Yeah.
You got to trade him, because he can make it uncomfortable. I mean, this thing is bigger than what Jimmy Butler is trying to do in Miami.
Right.
He's trying to get an extra 2 years so he can do stuff like Joel. I mean, without Joel, they're done.
Yeah, they're cooked. They're cooked. And as well as I do, Keith, when that player start and their agents start talking about getting that extension, and if you push back and it becomes contentious, then it goes sour. That situation can go sour. It's a huge situation for them, and their bargaining chip. And I think they want to pay him, but again, Joel has to do. I want Joel first. I want you to get your money. I do, with the 76ers. Fascinating talent to watch, but you played in 39 games this past season. And people talk about the great season you were having, but it wasn't even a half a season. And granted, his injury resulted with Jonathan Kuminga falling on his late knee, and when that 250, 260, it wasn't an injury where he broke down. It wasn't his body breaking down. It would have, anybody's meniscus would have torn under those circumstances. But the 76ers position is that, what? We're a lottery team without you, but we're also a team that in a decade can't get past the second round with you. As great as you are, as you are the rhinoceros swan, when you're on a court, but you're just not on the court enough. You've missed the equivalent of four 82 game seasons in games missed for the 76ers. So that's a huge problem.
Yeah, it's a major problem,
Major
dude.
problem, man. And that's what they've got to deal with. And it's not an easy decision. You look at a player like him, and how do you say goodbye to a player like that? And we'll talk about this a little bit more when we get back from the break. But right now, I want to talk to you about something else. One of our companies. Uh, what is PrizePicks? PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less or two or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks. That's a lot of money. As you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball's postseason. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with basketball, hockey, and baseball. Today on PrizePicks, America's #1 sports fantasy app. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. So again, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Do it today, people. Do it today. And we have another sponsor we're going to talk to you about, one of our favorites, eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. You got superchargers, you got roof racks, you got exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your #1 ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your hard-earned money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to USA customers. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have you had to turn down the volume with all that shouting, screaming, and hollering? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we're giving you the true dirt on the 76ers, your team every day.
Do it today, people. Definitely do it today. So my thing, Mitch. So we both. So like, I guess to me, I feel like the Sixers may not have any other choice than but to pay the guy because then he's going to get upset
Mm-hmm.
because he didn't get an extension. Now maybe he may say, "Look, instead of doing a 3-year one, I may try to see if I can do one for less money, right?" But
Mm-hmm.
no matter what you give him, like if he makes All NBA or anything like that, it's going to be more than what the than what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
So because that initially he was supposed to sign this extension he's on now, it was 190 something million. Well, it came over 200 million because of him making MVP and All NBA and all that stuff. So it's going to be more. But to me, I think they just put him in a tough situation. Now you said something like about losing weight. maybe that can be a clause. But here's the problem with all that. Like, the thing is, you can get the extension in July, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't report to camp until September, October. Now, again, you do expect him to be in some shape because he's playing in the Olympics.
Right.
But once you get that money, which like, I mean, once you get that money, once you agree to it, it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And how you a guy like him, I'm just say this before, a guy like him who's been able to do whatever he wants to do in this organization, how you can all of a sudden have some parameters now?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? You should have thought about that when they were rookies and you were trying to do it. He didn't have any veterans that can say, hey, this is how you do it. He was always the man.
Yeah.
It's kind of strict to me, kind of crazy that now all of a sudden, and I get it, Daryl Morey wasn't there at that time. They didn't do stuff, but now I guess consider it kind of crazy that now after the dude's 30, you want to tell him what he can and can't do.
You want him to grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a little kid being at the house and you let them jump on the couch all the time, and then when you got company come over, you can't jump on the couch. You can't jump on. What would you mean? I've been doing this forever.
Yeah. I was doing it since I was 4. Now I'm 20.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, here's what I think, man. At some point, it becomes about your professional character, man. And here I use my favorite sport, boxing, man. As I'll give you a perfect example. People hated Mayweather, but the one thing Mayweather always did, and I don't hate Mayweather. Mayweather was always finely tuned to the highest possible point. His conditioning, his mentality, as great as he was, and then he reminds me of Joel because he had all these skills. Floyd had all these natural skills that no matter how much time you stayed in the gym, you couldn't replicate. Joel Embiid is the same way. Look around the landscape of the NBA player today. Look at the guys, some of the guys who are playing center. There's nobody in his stratosphere. Jokic, Jokic's there, but he's not Joel on pure talent, but he's there all the time. He shows up prime. He did during that phase during the bubble. He got out of shape, but look at him now. Even though they're down and about to get pushed out of the playoffs, quite honestly, by the Minnesota Timberwolves, because the MVP's not bringing that team back. But Joe, it's personal character now. I'm hoping that Joel goes to the Olympics this year. And that's why I want him to go to the Olympics. I'm not like a lot of people say I don't want him to go to the Olympics. Why the hell wouldn't you want him to go around a guy like LeBron James, a guy who invests about $1 to $2 million annually on his body, on his health, a guy who crawls into that cryogenic chamber, a guy who hops into that ice tub all the time, who is extending his career because of, more than anything, the emphasis. Number one, well, he's a genetic freak. He won the genetic lottery. But number two, he's doing everything possible to extend his career. And Joel has to start doing that too, because and I can understand the mindset he might get by saying, man, look at my body of work. Look at my 30. I put up close to Will Chamberlain type like numbers, but you did that 39 games in a regular season, man. That's 40 some odd games that you've missed. You didn't play a half season. So do what you have to do, Joel, and so you can put your name on a Mount Rushmore somewhere, because your legacy. You do not want your legacy. We've had enough players come through here. Allen Iverson, Charles Barkley, and I know Barkley will say, "Man, yeah, I didn't get a championship, but look at me now on television. You're not going to have the television career Charles Barkley had. Not that you'll need it, but if you come in at 275, trim that weight off." And get the very most out of your body. Because if can you imagine him coming in and camp in shape and not playing himself in shape in games in Charlotte and Washington? I mean, and that disappoints me about him, man.
It does.
It does. It does. I'm passionate about that.
I see. But the problem is like, dog, when you've been covering this league for a long time, and I'm not.
And I've seen guys.
I'm not singling them out. I'm not saying this out, but there's a lot of these dudes. They young boys when they come in, they hand everything over to them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, why I gotta change? You know what I mean?
It's like the kid in Memphis.
Ja Morant, yeah, and Embiid is nowhere near that. Embiid's I don't.
He ain't Ja.
Yeah, he ain't Ja. He's nowhere near that. But I'm just saying, it's like it's one of those things where from day one, I mean, look, man, the dude calls himself the process.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Him and the team had a little disagreement over that.
Yeah.
He had, he wanted and got it copyrighted, trademarked, right? So he's like the whole nine, like their slogan, he got it trademarked. So
and we love it. We love it. We eat it up.
So it's one of those things where I just feel like you don't let the cat out the bag, so to speak, man.
It's personal responsibility at this point. It's more on Joel than on anybody. And what does he want his legacy to be? He wants to be the process, but right now he's the pra.
Yeah.
He's the pra. He's not the process yet. We'll talk about, maybe it's a little bit more when we get back, but we also want to talk about Paul Reed and some of the things that are going on in the organization after this break in the Mets from another sponsor. All right, game off. We got to pause right here to talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You already talked about that. There's just so much good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for time tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. And there's so much to get. You can get unique stickers you can trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes. Cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with. Hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine. And there's always new time events to help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now, free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on.
Do it today, people.
Definitely
do it today.
Keith, man, before I think was Spencer Hawes on the team when you took over the beat?
Yeah.
All right, I remember what an interesting character he would be. Can you imagine some of the outlandish things he would have said over the last few years if he would have 76ers? But the one
remember he had. Did you know whose face was on this toilet paper? He had specially made toilet paper.
Was it Obama? Yep, I remember. Yeah, he
hated Obama, boy.
Yeah, he's somewhere.
I wonder if he a Trumper, man. You think he a Trumper?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. There is absolutely unequivocally no doubt about it. And I like Spencer, man. I did like him.
He was different.
He was different.
He was different. I remember one time. So we was somewhere, and it was where were we? We were in Portland, and what's the kid name? The kid Tony Roten had all these people at the game and was going crazy and stressing over tickets and like paying for some and this and that. Spencer just chilling. So, because that's like Portland is like down the road from Seattle and all.
Yeah.
So I say, yo, Spencer, like, why you just chill, man? I don't get tickets from nobody. That's that rookie mistake. That's the mistake I was cracking up. He's like, if they want to see me, they pay. I don't do that. I was cracking up. But yeah, he was different.
I enjoyed my off-the-record conversations with him.
I remember one time he was about to fight. It looked like he was about to fight Boogie Cousins in Sacramento. So Boogie got in his face, Spencer got up in his. So I go in the locker room, I was like, yo, you weren't scared? Like, he's like, man, it's the NBA, don't nobody fight. Okay. Yeah, he was different. He was
Spencer
different.
had that camo hat and said, "My peeps are waiting for him outside."
Yeah, he was different. Yeah, I know he's different. Yeah, but so my thing is, Paul.
But let me say, but the reason I bring him up, I mean, real quick, is the reason I bring him up was the first time I saw Joel healthy was against him, and he was about 250, and he had him back to the basket about 12 feet down, about 12 feet out, man, and he put that drop step on Spencer, and bam. And the quickness and the explosion that he had, and he doesn't have it anymore, but his game's far more refined. But just, at 250, I couldn't believe it. I was like, look at this guy, man. But go ahead. That's why
Yeah, it was different, yeah. But if we're gonna talk about Joel, I never knew how good Joel was because he was always injured. And before he played the game, we were in Charlotte, and Patrick Ewing was standing out there watching.
Mm-hmm.
And me, I'm like, Dad, Patrick Ewing. So you want a whole conversation with him, right? You
Yeah.
talking to him, and he said to me, "That dude is going to be one of the all-time best."
Mm.
And I was like, "Who the boy that can't get on the court?" Right? Like him. And he was like, "Yeah, look at him. Look at him. Look at his footwork.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at that."
Mm-hmm.
And then, the conversation continued. And then I was talking to Steve Clifford, who was the head coach at the time. And then he started saying that stuff talking to me and saying stuff that Patrick was saying.
Wow.
I was like, wow, if this dude has yet to play a game, and Patrick Ewing watching him out there for 30 minutes and saying he's going to be one of the all-time
Hall of Famer. I mean,
and I'm like, okay, maybe he is good. You know what I mean? Like, so, because it's hard for you to see a guy doing certain things, but nobody around him.
Right.
And he he the man. Like, you know what I mean? To say he the man, but he ain't playing.
Right.
But when you got a guy like Patrick Ewing looking at it, and I was wondering because he was staring. And he enjoyed what he watched. And I was
that's saying, man, that's a mouthful right there.
Yeah, dude. This is his second year. This is his second year. This was like he didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like after he got the boot off or whatever, and he was doing certain things. Yeah, Pat was watching. Yeah, and I was like, wow. Okay, Joel. Okay.
Yeah,
but I guess we're gonna have to talk about your boys. I apologize, y'all.
That's all right.
We're gonna have to talk about B-Ball Paul on Monday, part of Monday's segment. But real quick, I will ask John this: do you think they should bring him back, B-Ball?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. If the circumstances are right. I mean, it's a business. If the circumstances aren't right, you got something better, then you move on to that.
Unfortunately for him, he has one of those contracts now that are great to be traded about now.
Yeah.
Because you can go and get, you can add that $7 million or something, or you can do whatever. And guess what? The team will take it and just waive you and you right off the books.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's saving money. Unfortunately for him. Now, again, I mean, the reason I say it's unfortunate for him because if you get traded, you may say you get traded to a better situation. But if you get waived, you ain't making that money.
Yeah.
That's where it's unfortunate. Yeah.
I mean, B-Ball Paul's got value. Imagine a guy like him. I mean, the Knicks are a perfect example. You add a guy like that who's getting better, who is obviously paying attention and working on his craft. And I both know a lot of guys who just getting cash and checks in that league.
And he does fit the mold for what the Toronto Raptors, the type of players they like. The 6'9", 6'10".
Yeah.
You could play multiple positions, you know what I mean? So
energy.
Yeah, energy. So look, y'all, let's say Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channel app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7. covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. So, for my man John Mitch and me, I'd like to say have a blessed day, a wonderful weekend. And let's see what's happening. Yo, these playoff series been exciting, Mitch.
I'm
I didn't
enjoying it.
think Boston was out there getting boat raced.
Man.
At
Man,
the crib.
And it's
At the
interesting.
crib.
Remember how the Knicks fans wanted Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah.
He saw why last night.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm at the barbershop on Tuesday. I go to It's How You Want It barbershop. Shout out to my peeps there. So I go there every Tuesday. As you can see, I don't get a haircut. I just get here lined up. But I go there and I'm up here talking smack, nah, man, that Donovan Mitchell did that against Orlando. He ain't going to do that against Boston. Nah, they're going to lock him down.
Yeah.
So I can't. I think I may. I'm not going to be able to go to the barbershop this week. Next week, because I'll be in Chicago. So I'm pretty sure they're going to talk smack when I get back the following week. But nah, it is what it is. But yeah, Donovan Mitchell looked pretty good. But if I'm the Knicks, I'm still happy with what I got, though.
I am too.
Yeah. If I'm not,
the league is shifting, man. The young boys are stepping up, and I'm glad to see it.
I know it's a new guard, dude.
Yeah,
like all of us, and that's the thing. That's the question mark for the Sixers. You keep talking about going after these older dudes.
New day.
And then you got this young crew. Yeah. And the thing about the young dudes, and I mean this in a respectful way, they don't respect the old heads. And what I mean by that is, in a respectful way, is they don't care. They don't care who you are. They coming after you. They going right for the neck. The juggler. Back in the day, it was like, oh my God, you're my idol. Oh my God, what can you teach me? They like, nah, bro, we trying to put you on the poster. That's what we trying to do.
As the Woo says, protect your neck.
Exactly. But look, y'all, have a great one. We enjoyed talking to y'all, and we'll be back on Monday.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.